this week I had a bunch of stuff to organise because we're going overseas next week, which is very exciting. But I had so much to plan, all of the kids' stuff to organise. I had to get all of my work done, do all of the shopping and the cleaning, and okay, fine, the hair appointments, they had to get done too. I was in the BMW X3, the 20i, which is the base model in the petrol version. It's about 66 grand and it's in competition with cars like the Mercedes GLC, the Audi Q5 and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. So, how did it do over my super frantic week running around all over Sydney? Let's find out. The thing I love most about getting a BMW for the week is the driving, and the X3 is no different. There is something super smooth about the engine. There's no lurching or jerking or none of those moments that you get in, you think, uh-oh, it's not going to get out in traffic fast enough. This does what you tell it to immediately, every time. So if you want to take off quickly, you can. If you want to turn the corner, it does so straight away. And that's how a car should drive, without hesitation. There is a 2-litre engine which gets me up hills easily and swiftly, and the car feels quite nimble and light, not heavy like some mid-size SUVs can, but it doesn't have all-wheel drive. It's only a 2-wheel drive for this base model, and for this price, I'd be expecting all-wheel drive, to be honest. It's on the larger side of mid-size SUVs, but I still found it relatively easy to park as long as you take the length of the car into consideration. There's a really high-def reverse parking camera, and you also get a 360-degree camera, which I find super handy for telling how far you are away from the curb. From the outside, the car looks really good. BMW have managed to make the SUV look upmarket, which is a very hard thing to do. They've got their signature grille, some lovely curves, and everything just looks a little bit luxurious. Inside is nice too. I'm in the base level model, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the higher models, but I mean, it's still a BMW, it's still quite fab. The dash up here does look a tiny bit hard, so I think they could have done better, but everything else is pretty swish. There's a part digital, part hardware display for the speedo under here, which sounds weird, but looks so good. And you get a heads-up display with the speed limit next to it, which is fairly useful. You get partial leather seats, which still feel nice, a leather-wrapped steering wheel, which feels good under the hands, and a super shiny, high-gloss center console area, which is so nicely designed. There are 2 cup holders in the front, 2 in the back, plus a bottle holder in each door, and an average size center storage bin. There's nothing fancy about this X3, but there's nothing too shabby about it either. The one thing you do notice in the X3 is that there is loads of interior space. So I've got heaps of leg and headroom, and my husband, who's 185 centimeters, also has loads of headroom, even with this giant sunroof that extends all the way to the back, which normally eats into the headspace. There's so much room. It's so light and breezy in here, and you don't feel cramped with the passenger next to you. The back is particularly spacious. These seats are set in quite far back, and I'm 161 centimeters, and I've got so much room to the seat in front of me. My 2 children, aged 4 and 6, were practically having a party back here. There's also enough room for a 3rd child seat in the back, and there's more room than most mid-size SUVs, so it won't be a major struggle trying to do the seat belts up every time. Rear passengers will also get their own air vents, but even better than that, there's triple zone climate control. So that means you can customize the air back here if they're too hot or too cold. The boot is really roomy. At 550 litres, it's on par with other cars in this category like Alfa's Stelvio and the Audi Q5. Only Jaguar's F-Pace has more room. You'll get a pram in here, you'll get groceries in here, pretty much whatever a growing family will need. Plus, there is a really decent underfloor boot storage, which will even fit the boot cover in here, which is great because I never know what to do with that. With all the seats down, the space opens up to 1,600 litres, which will fit like a bed or a bookcase or anything huge. The tech in the X3 is BMW's own system, which is actually really good. They've got a voice-activated sat-nav, so you can just dictate the address and it will find it. And the screen is super high res and really easy to use. If you do miss Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you can option them in for $623. I would have expected in a BMW that they'd be standard, but you know what? BMW's own tech is good enough. You might not even need them. The sound in here is fantastic. I turned it right up and had a whole solo musical experience. And if you haven't done that, I highly recommend it as a parent. It just brings you back to you. And it's got all the latest safety with airbags for driver and front passenger, plus side curtain airbags that extend to the back row. You'll also get auto emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, lane departure alerts. But if you want active cruise control or cross traffic alerts, you will have to go up a model. I found the BMW X3 a really nifty car to drive around this week. It's quite nimble for a mid-size SUV, which just makes the whole driving experience more enjoyable. It has loads of space for my whole family, and you feel really good inside with those polished interiors. I gave it a family rating of 8 out of 10 because I just love zipping around town in it all week. My children gave it an 8.5. They really liked having the extra space in the back seat. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or click through to our website.